Hello everyone, welcome back to Night Owl Nina Tarot. This evening I am going to be doing a VR. It's an unusual VR though. It's unique by novamunditarot, who has a series called #PairThisDeck. And so we can choose a deck and then we show it with really, I think, as many pairings as we possibly can. So I love pairing, and I just this deck just came into my collection, and I love it so much. It's already like we can't show it completely, but it is the Witch's Tarot by Chris Madsen, who goes by Burningpaperhearts. And I heard about it and watched a video on it on Tarot for Tired People. And Sohini, who is the voice of that channel, she talked about all the reasons that she shouldn't like it. It just depicts like one body type, and there's lots of nudity, and it was created by a man, even though it's a witch's tarot. And they're just some controversial or provocative topics that are all really on my mind every time I'm looking at decks. And yet she got it and said that she's pretty obsessed with it. And then I watched the video, and then I was like, oh, wait, I think even though I agree with all of her concerns about it, I also want to get it. And then I did get it, and now I'm obsessed with it. So here we are. So the very first deck that, even before I saw these two together, that I wanted to pair was the Nocturna Oracle by Megan Wireweirden, and I think she goes by Creeping Moon on Instagram. Really, really beautiful. She also created the Anima Mundi Tarot. So it's another photographic deck, which is, I think, one of the reasons that this pairs so well. And whoopsie, sorry, maiden. And it is all about nocturnal phenomena, nocturnal creatures, etc. So we'll just look at a few of these together. There's the Nine of Cups, the Conch, and the Hierophant. Beautiful. Okay, so these already are obviously speaking to each other so well. The Empress, the Scorpion, the Star. So here they are with just the Reclaim, which I also think is beautiful. Just the two. Queen of Swords, Intimacy, and Six of Coins. Beautiful. You're setting your boundaries. You're making your choices. But in intimacy, you can find a way to achieve balance, to have an even exchange. Those look really nice together. So this is another additional goddess that he added, number 34, Selene, and then Passion, and the King of Cups. Oh. So I can't remember exactly what her goddess energy is, but we'll just take it as there's some goddess energy within this witch, and her great passion manifests in King of Cups. Lovely. All right, let's add some. Okay, so sorry for the mood lighting, but I just had to give you all the experience of these two together. And this gorgeous glossy oracle was just not willing to not pick up the ring light. So, but I just think this Tell Me You Love Me oracle, it surprised me so much, but I just think it looks amazing with this deck. It's such a different art style, but we have here the 9 of coins, and they chose to give her what looks like a raven. Passion, desire, sexuality. If you play with fire, you will get burned. And then a very dark 4 of wands here. And if you can see, there's a little raven on the side here. So they look incredibly beautiful together. So here's the deck paired with this digital collage deck. It might be my all-time favorite oracle deck. Can I even say that? It might be. A Cosmic Crossroads by Amanda Lynn Aisling. Beautiful photo collage deck. Let's flip through a couple of these. Burn at the Stake. This is another newly created major arcana card. And Denial in the center on the Cosmic Crossroads. And then the 9 of Wands. Oh, this sense of, like, I'm almost at the end of this battle. I'm denying the potential of burning at the stake. I mean, it's so dark. Let's see here. Oh. The 5 of Cups. If you can see this blue fog that is around her eyes. Just beautiful, so sensitive. And then vulnerability in the center. And then Ace of Wands. It's like you deal with your vulnerability and then you're able to really receive that spark of inspiration that's brought with that ace. Let's pass the nudity. Okay. Here is the Druid. Again, that's the artist himself. In the center, we have stillness, and then we have the world. So, yeah, these are gorgeous together. A little bit of nudity there, a little bit of nudity there. Okay. Hard to see nudity here. So, let's add some decks. All right, so I added in the pocket-sized Memento Mori deck here, and I think that looks really beautiful. Again, like a different art style. This is an illustration, photo collage. Two of Swords. We're making that decision. We're taking our time to make that decision. In the midst of it, we have storytelling and forgive. And then we end up at the 6 of Wands, a moment of victory. Very beautiful. Vision. We are grains of sand. And on either side of that, the Temperance and the 8 of Swords. The 7 of Swords. Card I'm constantly wrestling with. Grief. Passion burns bright, but look at the heart on fire. And then the Tower. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if you received this? Well, you'd probably feel very seen. You know, if you're hiding from everyone what it is that you're taking, and if you feel like you have to hide it, and within you is a deep grief, but within you is also a passion. then perhaps this tower is going to free you. Wow. Very beautiful. Let's add more. All right, so I switched out. I made Tarot of Witches one pile, and then we've got the Sasuraibito Tarot on the other side. In the center lower, we have the Outgrow Yourself Tarot and Oracle, and then we're keeping the Memento Mori up here for a minute. Let's see what we have here. I already think visually I'm really liking the way they're talking to each other. We have Hecate, another one of the added majors, 31. In the center we have the Empress, cultivate your garden. Love endures above it with the two skeletons embracing. And then the Queen of Swords over here. So, again, can you imagine receiving this message? We're going to draw on Hecate. We are centrally, let's say that these are, let's say that these are the advisement, maybe? Let's see, the Empress, cultivate your garden, love endures. So if we have Hecate over here, and maybe that's the energy of you right now, and we're saying, cultivate your garden, connect with nature, connect with your innermost fertility, creativity, all of your Venus energy, and that with that, love endures, like believe in it. And while you're doing that, also cultivate your Queen of Swords. Hopefully, like looking for maybe this trajectory, Hecate to Queen of Swords, so boundaried, so powerful, so able to make clear thinking decisions, that not without love, but with justice in mind. You know, she has the sword of justice with her. Powerful. Here we have the Ace of Swords, so a truth revealed. And we have the Ace of Swords over here. I love tarot. And in the center of it, we start with Ace of Swords energy and we move still towards Ace of Swords energy. So there's so much truth. There's so much that fog that is being cut through. And in the center of that, perhaps what is helping us do that is the Emperor. And the advisement is outgrow yourself, the name of the deck. And your body is time. Using these advisements to be able to see the truth really clearly in our lives. One more. This group. The Hanged Man. The Hierophant. You carry the seed. Count your blessings. And then over here, the Ten of Wands. Oh, we've taken on so much. Reflecting. The universe has put you in a reflective place. Maybe so you can take in this wisdom, so you can count your blessings, so you can be grateful and remember all of the wisdom that you've been given. You carry the seed, and you see within her is what looks like the Queen of Swords, a woman holding a sword, and then the baby. But over here is the Ten of Wands. So you'll feel burdened by this. You'll feel you've taken on maybe too much, but it seems like that is the directive. Perhaps this is just that moment in your life where these things have to be done. need some. All right, once again, the glare is driving me out of my mind. Let's try turning down or turning off. We'll just turn off. We'll just do one or two of these, but this is the Tarot of the Vampires. I have the Spanish language version because that is still at a normal mass market deck price. I edged mine in red. I just used a Sharpie, but the red ended up looking really good. So I think Tarot of the Vampires with the Dream Song Oracle really works, at least works for me. On this side we have Coven, and on this side I kept Ritual Magic because I just love it and I wanted to see it again. And then in Dream Song we have Go Dark, and you can see all of the wild fruits growing out of her head. And then we have the Four of Wands. But the Tarot of the Vampires just has such a different take. So you really have to take it from the artwork more than the most traditional RWS meanings, because instead of this being like a home for what's the fire in her and a home with a hearth, this appears to be more of like a spiritual sanctuary, which is also a beautiful concept. Let's see. It's our nudity. Okay, so we're seeing the Empress again because I shuffled. So here we have the Three of Cups, which only has one figure in it. All of the photographs in this deck only have one figure, so we're looking for the three elsewhere. And like, could be these three floating pieces of paper, but certainly not, you know, again, reading this one more intuitively and thinking about like not just the RWS meanings, but more of a what is the feeling that you're getting from this depiction of Three of Cups? Is this somehow a celebration? It seems more like with the wind blowing, it feels like maybe a release, a certain freedom of these papers. And then under here, we have the Three of Wands, so another three. And again, you know, this is not a traditional RWS depiction, but she is nonetheless anticipating, and we can see behind her the huge ship and its sails. Above this we have Dream Song, Shed the Tears. So a very sorrowful take. And the Empress over here, but again, like such a withdrawn Empress, so thoughtful behind her hair. So tears, anticipation, but also some fear in this card, and a release certainly, but not the joyful dancing of the traditional card. So it looks like there's these two threes. So we have some growth, something's happening, but there's also the mourning of what came before. And the Empress, I feel like the Empress is really with this card, shedding the tears, remembering things are changing. Even if it's good, it's frightening. These are very nice together. I'm not going to do any more because of the glare, so I'm going to switch to other decks. All right, here we have the Feminine Myths Oracle. Is there literally any deck that the Feminine Myths Oracle does not look good with. I think it is just, it's gorgeous on its own. Please try to ignore the hideous modifications that I've done, because I cannot stand having to look in the guidebook when I'm doing a reading. So I put some keywords on here, but really tried not to get it on the actual artwork. But here we have Isis in the center. Oh, let's change these over. Oops, that's not allowed. Oh, and we're back at the Maiden. Okay, so the Seven of Cups. I don't know if you can see, but this witch has these moon outlines, the phases of the moon surrounding her head. And so imagining those choices also being phases is an interesting take. And then we have Isis, the protector of women, and the Maiden, a maiden who would probably be seeking protection from Isis. Beautiful. Gaia. The Ten of Wands. And there is a certain type of exhaustion depicted here. But it also could be perhaps having a vision. And then we have Mother Earth in the center, and then the Hanged Man on the other side. So if there's exhaustion and that moves into a period of being forced to reflect, perhaps it was Gaia who forced you to do that, because something needs to change. Something needs to change about this. And so she says, hang, reflect. Oopsies. Back to the Druid and Hecate. But the Hecate in this deck, not the Witch's Hecate. So we have the Druid here, Hecate, and the Ace of Swords. Yeah, these talk so beautifully. They vibe the world. And here's Hecate here. Hecate of the Witches, the world. I think this is pronounced Eurynomy. And here we have Hecate. So lovely. All right, let's add some things. All right, so now we have the Urban Crow Oracle, and then I've shown this before a couple of times. It's 3 decks by Athene Noctua, and they're all mini. It is the Fated Pocket Love Oracle, the Crystal Ball Pocket Oracle, and the Witch's Familiar Runic Oracle. On the Runic Oracle, you'll see I've written some keywords because I couldn't remember anything that they meant. But this one is transformation. You can see it's a butterfly. Transformation, enlightenment, and breakthrough. So we start over here with the Page of Cups, the delightful, youthful energy of the Page of Cups. Commitment. Perhaps the Page of Cups is transformed by a sense of commitment and transformation. And this manifests as the Tower in the Page of Cups life. Wow, and look at this tower. Oh, I just think this is so gorgeous. Interesting. The Hermit. Battle. Beautiful possibilities. And 8 of Cups. Oh, look at this departure in the 8 of Cups card. It's like, is the soul departing? A withdrawal. Maybe this is an internal battle. that results in the Eight of Cups, even though there's awareness of the beautiful possibilities. Oh, what a sad reading. Let's try other cards. Okay, so here we have another tarot deck. I'm not usually a huge fan of showing tarot with tarot, but in this case, I feel like this is the mother deck to this deck as the maiden, because this is the Circle of Doors deck, and it is a slightly older witch deck. It uses photography. Even the layout is similar. The cardstock is very different, and the photography style is very different. But let's see. Let's show you Sanctuary. I mean, just gorgeous. Stunning photography, and it just feels like they're in the same family, and they have a lot of the same, not the same wisdom, but I guess this feels very deeply witchy. Who did I see saying that this was her Hecate deck? Maybe it was Tarot Shrink, but you know, let's look at, what do we have here? The Two of Coins, seeking that balance. But as I keep saying, the way that the images are depicted, I mean, the way that the card is depicted is so different from the RWS. In the RWS, we have the figure dancing or juggling, and here we don't see any discs, and we see one figure in a desert, or what looks to be a desert, looking down. So in this case, the duality of the two and the complementary pairing or union appears to be missing, because she's not united with anything. So in a way, this feels like this is the lack. Perhaps it's meant to depict the lack of that balance. And then in the center, we have the Visionary card, which is their name for Crone of Keys, who is also the King of Keys. And the keys are the wands in this deck. So everything's been renamed. And they, much like Aleister Crowley did, gave each card a title. And I know that there are hermetic titles for all of the RWS decks as well. But these are different. And this is a crone. So in these high contrast black and white cards, I think is when they really, let's see if we can find another one. Yeah. So if you look at these three together, I think that's when you can see just how related they are. We have the Hierophant, the Maga of Keys, who I believe is the Queen, and she's called the Rebel. That makes me think that maybe she's the Knight. And then over here we have the Two of Cups. So again, you know, wearing a wedding veil, but otherwise unclothed, and a single figure. So it gives us a lot to process when it comes to the twos and having a single figure. And also single items, you know, in the Two of Coins in the traditional deck, there's two coins. The Wheel of Fortune, with the High Priestess on one side and the Page of Wands on the other. So very beautiful, very powerful energies from Circle of Doors, from both decks. But I did feel it was important to show them together, even though this is not a pairing I think I would do unless it was requested. Let's look at some more. Okay, here is a pairing that really surprised me in how well it worked. This is the Citadel Oracle. So, I mean, I'm completely obsessed with the way they used this foiling in the cards. It is so mesmerizing. I don't know if you can even see it, but so well done, so detailed. How this is a mass market deck is impossible to understand, but I appreciate it. So we'll look at a few pairings and then maybe add a couple of decks. So we have over here Celine, and then we have over here this fantastic Queen of Swords licking her sword. Just a blatant display of power, which I love. And in the midst of it, we have the Sleeper, cause and effect, clarity. So we don't know how much the Sleeper knows, but we have this goddess here and the Queen of Swords here with her confidence. And this, we don't know how much wisdom this Sleeper has. We have the King of Cups, the Botanist, parenthood, legacy, and the King of Cups always makes me think of parenthood and like, what is it? A loving father figure, a loving masculine figure. But then over here we have the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords moving so fast, moving with such directness. And the chainmail and otherwise nudity in the photo, but blurry enough that we're not seeing anything. But King of Cups, that emotional fortitude and the emotional intelligence that comes into parenthood and legacy, but it feels like with the figure of the Knight of Swords moving so fast, it feels like almost this is the parent of the knight. The Four of Wands. So I know I've already talked about this card, but I'll just show it again because it is such a different feeling than this home and hearth. We have the figure who is wearing some sort of headdress, and then the raven on the other side of the chair. She looks like she's hiding and possibly imprisoned because maybe she didn't put this on. Maybe she's hiding from someone, but it's a very menacing scene. And then in the middle of this, we have the patron, mentorship, finances. But that makes me think of, like, seen next to this card, it makes me think of some sort of financial control. And then we have the Ten of Swords, which, speaking of menacing, is another, this feeling of a long series of betrayals, a long series of enduring abandonment, betrayal, cruelty. So the three of these, even though this is not a traditional reading of the card, it's not a traditional, it's not a traditional depiction. So I think we're right to do that. Let's add a deck. All right, so I added the Soul Reflections Tarot. This is another Anna Novine's artistic project, and I want to say the author is Sunshine Connolly. I'll have to double check that. But more Anna Novine's artwork, which also seems to be a great marriage with this deck, just like the Feminine Myths Oracle. And then above it we have the Tower card here. Like I just cut the decks and put them down, and so it's not like I'm planning to put down the Tower with the Assassin, but I mean, we have to respect what chance offers us. So we have the Nine of Coins on this side, holding her raven rather than a falcon. And we have the Strength on this side. Were these two together before? It's possible. midst of the confidence and the autonomy of the Nine of Coins and the inner strength, the taming of the wildness inside, what we have in the center is the Tower and the Assassin, with ruthlessness and conviction as the key words. That feels very accurate to me in some way, that you've cultivated this personal strength, and you've cultivated your autonomy, but that has probably meant that you've had to go through many tower moments, these rebirth moments after structures that you thought you could rely on have fallen. And it also probably takes a certain amount of ruthlessness and conviction. Kill your darlings, very interesting. Let's flip a little bit more. All right, this is another major arcana card, Wane. So the waning moon. Releasing, letting go, walking away. This has a very Eight of Cups feeling to me. And on the other side, we have the King of Coins. So there's that thoughtful, legacy creating King of Pentacles. In the midst of that, we have the Three of Swords and the Miser, stubbornness and inflexibility. Walking away, releasing, becoming less and less visible, moving into a King of Coins energy, a thoughtful, paternal leadership presence who greatly cares and takes great care of the citizens of the kingdom, of those around him, those he loves. The High Priestess, the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups depicted a little more darkly than usual. She's looking away from us. We've got the moon over here, 3/4. And here are her cups, but they're all empty. 5 of them above, 2 behind. So perhaps we're meant to think she can't even see these 2. She doesn't know that there's other choices. The Masquerade, hiding your true self, projection. And then the Temperance. Oh, this beautiful Temperance card. And, seeing the phase of the moon go from 3/4 to full, that's a nice trajectory. Let's look at some other decks. All right, we are getting the rest of the glossy decks out of the way. I have this one and 2 more, and then one that might be glossy. So this is the Seasons of the Witch Samhain Oracle. I'm sure it is a surprise to no one that these look incredible together. They look so good. Even though they're completely different art styles, the energies just vibe. Justice, Nature Spirits, 2 of Wands. The Sun, Wolf, 8 of Wands. They just look so good together. I think in a reading, it would just be so easy for someone to respond to these intuitively. 6 of Wands, Mischief, King of Wands. And look, could there be a more mischievous King of Wands? What is happening? I love the crown. I love the gown / lacy robe. Yeah, it's great. Oh, back to this 2 of Coins. And then we have the Banshee. and the Wheel of Fortune. These are great. You're going to see so many repeats of these cards because I had to take out a bunch because there's so much nudity in the deck. So, sorry. Let's look at another glossy deck. So the Tell Me You Loved Me Oracle looked so good with it that I felt that I just had to try the Tarot Divinatorium. Again, radically different art styles, but so much fun. I'm not sure if this is as much of a match. Let's see. I'm not mad at it. We've got the Star, the Four of Coins, and the Seven of Wands. Something about this works for me. The Two of Cups and the Ace of Wands surrounding the Chariot. Also, it's 2 tarot decks, and that's throwing me. But there's something about the gold and the gold that works for me. The Hierophant, the Queen of Coins, and the Five of Cups. Not bad. Not bad. This oracle, the Black Lilith Cosmic Alchemy Oracle, is one that I thought from the beginning, this is really, really going to work. And I know it's dark, and so it's hard to tell how much this works, but it really does. It's such a lush photography deck. Mercury, communication and truth. Black Moon Lilith and Sagittarius, free yourself. Surrounded by Hecate and the Emperor. It's fabulous. Exaltation, Master Manifester. Venus, love and abundance. With the Druid and the Six of Coins. Oh, I love the Six of Coins being on the abundance side. Yeah, this is beautiful. Enough said. So this is the Iris Oracle by Mary Evans. And I was not sure. I knew that I would like the black borders with the black borders, but because this is such a different art style, I just wasn't sure about it. But I do find it brings out a different quality in the Witch Tarot. So if we have the Druid on this side and the Six of Coins on this side, and then in the midst of it, we have this sweet drawing, the sheep who wandered and found a different shepherd. To me, that just somehow works. The Ace of Swords and the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups depicted so, again, just so menacing. The Six of Cups, what I usually think of as happiness, nostalgia, etc. We have a flower eye mask, and then her hands around her throat in the international symbol for choking. So I guarantee that this is a picture of happiness for many people, it is unexpected. But one of the many qualities that I love about this deck is that this is the nostalgic happiness. Maybe remembering a certain dynamic, just to be completely vague about it. And then here we have the Ace of Swords. So a truth has been revealed, sitting on top of the world. And Six of Cups. The Seven of Swords and the Three of Swords. Two of the toughest cards just in any deck, I think. Let's look at the Three of Swords. We haven't taken a closer look at this. But the flash of red in front of her eyes, the tiny moon, the quality of the photography, which is, you know, we've got dripping and it looks like some really sepia toned and maybe left in the developer too long on purpose, of course. And incredibly moody lighting, blurry. So the Three of Swords moment being depicted as one of just not quite knowing. And I can't tell, my vision is not that great. Maybe I'll look at it back on the replay, but I think this church building might be on fire. So like a true, just an abandonment of faith, abandonment of the heartbreak and sorrow that comes with betrayal or like deep disappointment. And our Seven of Swords. Our Seven of Swords. Deceiving others, deceiving herself. But then in the midst of it, we have this beautiful card, Spirits to Guide You. I love that. So there's spirits to guide us when we're in these states. Okay, those were the glossy decks. Is that right? That's all of them? Yes. So now we will go back to just a few more pairings. I am back, and this is the Celestial Oracle, the Broccoli Magazine Celestial Oracle. This is another deck, much like the Circle of Doors, where I feel like it would be genuinely irresponsible of me not to show you the Celestial Oracle with the Tarot of Witches. It pairs so beautifully with almost anything, and unsurprisingly, it looks really nice with this one too. The white borders bother me a little bit, seeing it together with how just the dark framing, but otherwise the palette works really nicely together. Well, let's look at a few of them. We have the Crone and the Chariot, so two majors, and then those surround the Milky Way. And we see a mother nursing a baby, but the keywords are paths, migration, and loss. So this wisdom and this determination around the vast Milky Way. We have the Eight of Swords, the Parhelion, and the Moon. I do not know what Parhelion is. I don't know if it's an astronomical event, phenomena, or if it is an entity. Like, is it a star or... Oh, bless you. It's my kitty. But we have Eight of Swords, the Parhelion of blessings, plurality, conspiracy, and the Moon. I think these two look very nice together. Those borders do bug me. Yeah, I'm not sure if this would be the first. No, I know this would not be the first pairing I reached for. I don't think it's bad, but it's not my favorite. But we must look at it because this is an important oracle. The Hermit, Jupiter, and the Devil. Wow. Two majors and Jupiter. Turmoil, elders, supremacy. The isolation and withdrawal of the Hermit. The self-sabotage of the Devil. around turmoil, elders, and supremacy. That actually feels very reflective of the United States political situation. The Seven of Cups with her ring of moons, moon phases, and the Knight of Coins around constellation, myth, connection, creativity, faced with choices, moving slowly, but still questing forward, thoughtfully moving forward. And in the midst of it, constellation, myth, connection, creativity. Is that what it takes to get from here to here? Very nice. Oh, they look really good. These two decks are my current obsession. I've been reading with them so much. Page of Cups, Six of Pentacles, Death. Look at this Empress. In the midst of the Hell Goddess and the Queen of Wands. Okay, here's the Queen of Wands also living what I would consider to be the very best life. She does look cold, but look at this beautiful white tiger that she's with. In the court cards in the Tarot of Witches, he actually numbers them. So they go from 1 to 14. So the queens are always 13. So the 13 of Wands. But we have the Empress in the midst of these, and that really does feel like the overarching energy. Very, very beautiful. I think I want to end on this. Let us not deny the power of all these big cats. Oh, and in this one she has babies and bunnies. I mean, it's just like these are situations that I long to be in. Thank you all so much for watching my gazillion pairing video. I hope you enjoyed, and please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know of other pairings that you've thought of or you've tried. Please forward and link any of your work so I can watch what you're doing. Great. Yeah, have an amazing, very, very witchy evening.